everyone. It's Enjoy English School. I'm Chris Gorski.
I'm Minnie.
Today it's August 8th, and we're talking about a very special place on Earth, the city where meat is not allowed.
那我们今天8月8号在20、21页，我们今天要来讲很特别的主题，我们要讲一个很特别的地方，叫做禁肉之城瓦拉纳西。
That's right, we're talking about Varanasi in India. Now, India, you might know, is home to a lot of vegetarians. These people don't eat meat, and Indian food is pretty good, so I guess it's a good place to be a vegetarian.
所以在印度有很多人他们是素食主义者，他们是不吃肉的。那我们今天就要来谈谈这一个地方。
So I kind of wonder, for my students listening, have you ever eaten Indian food? Have you eaten it in Taipei? Or maybe it's something that you haven't found. It is a little hard to find in Taipei, yes?
It's not hard at all.
Okay, I think I would say that if I'm going to pick my favorite 2 or 3 restaurants, you got to drive a little bit. But maybe you live in a very Indian-centric neighborhood.
No, it's everywhere in Taipei.
Okay, we'll see. Let's hear the story, okay?
The city where meat is not allowed. There is no other city on earth like Varanasi, India. In fact, it is one of the oldest cities in the world. People have been living there for over 3,000 years. Around 2,500 years ago, the Buddha gave his first teachings in the area. Today, it is mostly visited by followers of Hinduism, which is the main religion in India. Most Hindus travel to Varanasi to either pray or die. Varanasi is the home of Shiva, who is one of the most important Hindu gods. When Hindus reach Varanasi, they gather on the 88 staircases beside the Ganges River. At the bottom of the stairs, they bathe in the river to wash away their sins. After people die, their bodies are burned beside the river, and the ashes are spread into the flowing water. In Hinduism, all life is important. Therefore, nearly half of all Hindus are vegetarian. The cow is especially respected, so most Hindus never eat beef. In the past, some restaurants in Varanasi still served meat for non-vegetarian visitors. However, in 2019, the pro-Hindu government banned meat within 250 meters of any temples or cultural attractions in the city, especially near the Ganges River.
All right, let's take a look at paragraph 1. Now, friends, don't forget to write all over your magazine. We got our pencils, we got our highlighters, and let's look at our first sentence. There is no other city on earth like Varanasi, India.
世界上再也找不到像印度瓦拉纳西一样的城市了。
Okay, so we want to look at our preposition on earth. We kind of use on earth like an island. When we're 在什么岛上, we like to say on an island. And another thing we want to watch out for is the positive be verb here. We're saying there is no city on earth like Varanasi. 我们不可以说 there isn't no city.
好，这边老师刚刚特别讲到 on earth 这个 on 这个介系词，我们可以把它想成是像在岛屿上 on an island 一样，我们也可以用介系词 on。在这边还有一个很特别的地方，大家有没有注意到 earth 的 e 是大写？因为地球就是我们只有住的这一颗，所以我们前面不需要加 the， 然后 e 要给它大写，这个是在英文里面书写很重要的一个部分。
Very good. Let's look at our next sentence. In fact, it is one of the oldest cities in the world.
然后再来呢，事实上，瓦拉纳西呢是世界上最古老的城市之一。
Now, I really like history and social studies, and when I was a teacher in America, we spent a long time talking about India. We usually think of the Middle East. That's like places like Iran and Iraq. All of those places, it's kind of home to a lot of big ideas. But a lot of times, It's actually from India or that kind of area over there. But Europeans, 欧洲的人, they learn 欧洲. Europeans learn about it because they get it through the Middle Eastern traders.
所以老师这边有讲，因为他很喜欢历史嘛，他也曾经是一个历史老师，所以呢，他就非常喜欢印度文化啊，非常喜欢中东文化啊。那中东、印度文化他们之间有一些关系存在。
Yeah, and they like to trade, they like to buy things from each other. And like anytime you work with a person, you talk with them and you trade ideas, you share things, and over time, they will go from Europe to India, India to Europe. It takes a long time, but India is one of those places where just a lot of really interesting ideas come from, and that's what we're looking at today.
所以印度跟中东还有欧洲地区，他们常常会做一些贸易的交流，这也是他们把文化交换来交换去的一个方法之一。
Let's continue. People have been living there, Busa at there, for over 3,000 years.
那人们已经在那里生活超过3000年。老师刚刚有特别提醒我们说 living there 跟 there 前面我们不加任何其他的介系词哦。
Around 2,500 years ago, the Buddha gave his first teachings in the area.
那大约在2500年前，释迦牟尼呢，在这个地方进行了第一次的讲道。
That's right. This is the first Buddha. You guys know probably a whole bunch of Buddhas, but this is Siddhartha Gautama. This is the first one. And do you know where I first learned a lot about the first Buddha?
I don't know.
There was a comic book. Who did they draw? What's his name? Astro Boy. He's like a Japanese robot comic. And he also liked Buddha, and he drew like a comic about it, and it was really fun. And my wife was like, this is terrible. I thought it was really fun. It was a fun comic to see about the Buddha.
I think you're trying to say 原子小金刚吗？
Yeah.
Okay, I've never read that though.
It was like in a special library. And like I was like, oh, there's like a religious comic book, and I wanted to read it. It was really good. It was really fun.
So you get to know like Buddhism and stuff.
Yeah, you learned. So again, I was like a history teacher. I knew a lot of these ideas, and I was like, "Well, this book is like it's like accurate. It's not like just a comic book. It was really good and really fun to read that way." And I guess for like maybe hard things like the Shenzi, like the Bible is really old, and maybe you're interested in that, but it's really old and hard to read. So there's like a comic book you can read about it. It makes things a little easier.
Cool.
Yeah, I liked it. Okay, let's continue here. Today, it is mostly visited by followers of Hinduism, which is the main religion in India.
那如今呢，来这边参访的大多数都是印度主要宗教，也就是印度教他们的信徒。
Oh man, we need our highlighter here. Let's look at the back of Hinduism, that ISM. You want to highlight that when we see ism at the end of a word. This talks about something you believe in.
所以我们看到 ISM 结尾的这个字，请你用荧光笔画起来。这代表就是什么什么主义，什么什么教，也就是你相信的那个主轴，然后把它变成名词，就会变成这个 Hinduism.
And actually, in the last sentence, I also wanted to highlight the Buddha gave his first teachings. Teachings is pretty formal. That's a manjin. And it really is like lesson. But we don't like to say this word lesson here for like religious stuff because it sounds like a lesson sounds like you're in class. I wouldn't say the teachings of Chris Gorski. That makes it feel very ooh la la. And teachings is usually for very special teachers.
所以在这边前面那一句，我们 teaching 加上 s 之后，我们这边的中文我们会翻译成讲道。那是因为它是比较正式一点，不是只是像讲课一样，它是可能是一个教宗在宣达一个什么事情，或者是一个什么派别特别在提倡什么样子的议题的时候，我们才会用 teachings。所以它是一个很特别，然后很正式的讲道、讲课的那种用法。
This is like the most famous teachers, like Kongzi. We can talk about the teachings of Confucius. We don't talk about like the teachings of your English teacher. It doesn't work.
所以一般的老师在上课的时候，我们会用 lesson 这个字比较多，不会用到 teaching 这种大字。
Let's continue here. Most Hindus travel to Varanasi to either pray or die.
哦，所以多数的印度教徒呢，就会来这个瓦拉纳西这个地方来 pray 祈祷，或者是来迎接死亡。
So we have this word pray here, and just like Minnie did and just like I did, we hold our hands together. Now, there's another word in English that sounds the same. P-R-E-Y. And pray is an uncountable noun.
那 pray 的话是狩猎的意思。
That's right. It's an animal that gets eaten by another animal. So how do we remember this? Well, today we're talking about religion and teaching. So P-R-A-Y. 在那个 A, 你下面可以写 A-N-G-E-L. 你会拼出来什么？ Angel, 天使。
哦。所以老师这边告诉你一个偷懒的好记的方法，你要怎么样记得 P-R-A-Y 是祈祷 ，P-R-E-Y 是狩猎呢？那就是把 A 底下写 A-N-G-E-L Angel， 你会跟天使祈祷嘛？你不会去狩猎天使嘛，对不对？所以这样子就会比较好记哦。
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, it's paragraph 2. All right, friends, it's time for paragraph 2. We are on pages 20 and 21. Let's begin. Varanasi is the home of Shiva, who is one of the most important Hindu gods.
那瓦拉纳西呢是 Shiva 湿婆的故乡。那湿婆呢是印度教中很重要的神明之一哦。
When Hindus reach Varanasi, they gather on the 88 staircases beside the Ganges River.
那当印度教徒呢抵达这个瓦拉纳西的时候呢，他们就会聚集在这个恒河的旁边的这个88个河街。
Okay, so the Ganges River is very special. It's a river, you can flip the name, and you can only do this sometimes. But we can say the river Ganges or the Ganges River. You can only do this sometimes. So, 你可以写下来 the river Ganges, but don't worry about remembering that. Just, you might hear it sometimes. And let's continue at the bottom of the stairs. They bathe in the river to wash away their sins.
那在河街的最底层呢，你就会看到人们在河里面沐浴，然后呢，这个沐浴的动作是来洗刷他们的罪。
So we know the verb to take a bath, and that A is a short A, and the TH is nice 清音. But the verb for take a bath, 事实上可以变成一个单词, and it's to bathe. That A is a long A. And 那个 TH 变的你要加一个 E, to bathe.
所以刚刚老师讲的 take a bath 是 B-A-T-H bath， 那个 A 的读音跟 B-A-T-H-E bathe 不一样，所以我们都会跟学生讲 phonics 是 A something E 长音 A。所以在这边我们课文里面看到的是动词泡澡、洗澡的意思 bathe。
Let's continue. That A sounds just like me. Let's continue. After people die, their bodies are burned beside the river, and the ashes are spread into the flowing water.
那在人们呢过世之后，遗体呢就会在恒河旁边焚烧，然后烧完之后的骨灰呢，他们就会撒在这个恒河的这个流水之中。
All right, and with that, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll finish up with paragraph 3. All right, friends, it's time for paragraph 3 at Enjoy English School. In Hinduism, all life is important.
那在印度教中呢，它众生同等重要，这个是一个很重要的观念。
Therefore, or so, nearly half of all Hindus are vegetarian.
那因此呢，将近一半的印度教徒呢都是吃素的。
Now, it's really funny because I think when we think of Indians, we think like almost everybody's vegetarian. And here in reality, you have a huge country where less than half is vegetarian, but that's still a lot more than like almost anywhere on earth. Almost no other country is like almost 50% vegetarian. That's still a lot of people.
因为印度的分母很大嘛，他们人很多啊，所以他们一半的人吃素，感觉就是比别人还要多人吃素嘛。
Yeah, and I will say that like in Taiwan, it's really convenient to be a vegetarian. The time that you can eat is a little tricky, but it's really easy to find vegetarian food here. I will say that it's kind of hard for me when I go back to America. I need to think a little more carefully. But most restaurants will have at least one thing you can eat. It's rare, like I go to a restaurant and I'm like, I'm going to die because there's no food. So, yeah, let's continue here. The cow is especially respected, so Hindus never eat beef.
那由于印度教徒呢格外的尊崇这个牛只，所以他们大多数的人呢都从来不吃牛肉。
In fact, if you're a person that people think eat beef, or you have beef in your house, in some places people will like go to your house, they will steal your refrigerator, they will beat you up. Having beef in India is a seriously bad thing.
所以在印度比较极端一点，如果你家里藏有牛肉，如果你冰箱里面是有牛肉的，人家会把你的冰箱偷走，然后会很大力的处罚你，因为基本上你拥有杀牛这件事，有牛肉这件事情是一个罪。
It's a super bad thing. You guys probably understand this a little bit. Muslims don't eat pork. If you go to the Middle East, it's really hard to find bacon because they just don't eat pig meat. They just don't.
不同宗教还有不一样的一些小的注意的事情，就像刚刚老师讲 Muslim 穆斯林他们是不吃猪肉的，对。
All right, and let's underline the cow, and we have a singular here, the cow, but really we know India has a lot of cows, so we can flip this and say cows are especially respected. And good.
因为这边我们 cow 是用单数写嘛，它就有点像是一个统称的意思，所以统称就当不可数名词，我们直接用 is 就好。但当然你要写 cows are 也可以哦，两个都是正确的。
In the past, some restaurants in Varanasi still served meat for non-vegetarian visitors.
那在过去呢，瓦拉纳西的一些餐厅仍会贩售肉食给不是吃素的这些旅客。
And in the past, those restaurants you could buy meat, those were always kind of far away on the outside of the city.
对，外围的。
Yeah, you weren't in the center. Like, think of like Taipei. It wouldn't be near Taipei 101. It's definitely way out in the suburbs somewhere. Like you'd go to Banqiao or something to buy meat or something. So let's continue here. However, in 2019, the pro-Hindu government banned meat within 250 meters of any temples or cultural attractions in the city, especially near the Ganges River.
那然而，亲印度教的这个政府呢，在2019年的时候宣布哦，该市里面所有距离寺庙或文化景点250公尺以内的地方，全部都禁止吃肉，尤其是恒河的附近。
So you might be asking yourself, why is the cow, especially respected in Hinduism? So the answer is, well, the cow is actually, so maybe you're asking yourself, why are cows so respected and considered like off limits in India? And the answer is because cows are like really peaceful animals. The word we would use in English is docile. Docile is D-O-C-I-L-E. This is like extra, super gentle and peaceful. And because these cows don't make any trouble, they don't hurt anybody, well, they probably respect all life. They kind of are the super example of the Hindu idea, don't hurt anybody. All lives are important.
那老师刚刚有提到一个很重要的问题，大家都说啊，牛是不是因为它是神，所以大家才不吃它？但其实最重要的原因是因为牛只呢，它们是很 docile， 它们就是很平和、很温顺、很温柔的动物。它们就是你知道它的经济价值很高，全身上下其实都可以吃。那牛这个动物呢，它其实就是它不会去攻击别人，它就是做好自己该做的本分，而且它还提供给人类什么牛奶啊、cheese 啊等等这些可以不用杀牛但可以做出来的事情，所以他们对这种动物就会有特别有一种崇高的敬仰，这也是为什么他们不吃牛肉的原因。
And one more thing to add on that, cows are not gods. Some people make that mistake. Cows are still not gods. Just they're good examples of things to like Let's be like a cow.
所以这边就特别澄清，牛呢，它其实不是说它是神之一，只是因为它的品性、它的行为、它的贡献跟付出，所以让大家对它有尊重。
All right, time for vocab review. Okay, friends, it's time for vocab review. And our first word today is mostly.
Mostly 是副词，就是大部分里。
And number 2, we have a noun, a religion.
名词是宗教的意思 ，religion。
Number 3, we have our verb to pray.
那在这边当动词 pray 动词是祈祷的意思。
Number 4, at the bottom of something, someplace.
所以就是在什么地方的底层，可能是一个地方，可能是一个阶级。
And number 5, we have a verb to bathe.
动词泡澡、沐浴叫 bathe。
Number 7, especially.
副词尤其地，尤其是。
To respect somebody or something.
那如果 respect 当动词的时候呢，是当尊敬的意思。
And lastly, number 8, we have our adjective cultural.
Cultural 就是文化的，它是一个形容词。
And that's it for today. When we come back tomorrow, we'll have day 2 of our story about the city where meat is not allowed for enjoying the school. I'm Chris Gorski.
I'm Minnie.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.